Hey guys, it's Billy. As the title of this video suggests, I have made almost all my videos private, and I wanted to make a new video to explain why I have done this. So I started making videos over 11 years ago when I was a teenager. I'm now in my late 20s, I've recently started a PhD, and I don't want someone to be searching for me in a kind of professional context, maybe looking for a paper I've written, to come across a teenage version of myself with his ridiculous hair and horrible video editing. So the major reason behind my decision is obviously like a kind of bit of digital housekeeping. But there is another reason which is quite important to me. My tutorials that I made are old, they're tired, unscripted, a lot of them are barely audible, and they're in desperate need of a refresh. And I do genuinely want to make new tutorials. Now, I wanted to do that for like several years, but there've been, I think broadly speaking, three reasons why I haven't actually made new tutorials since I think about 2014. So the first problem has just been having a consistent place to jump rope. Once I moved out of my parents' place, I was in London. I've ended up having to move house a bunch of times. When you're in like a big city, gyms are often very crowded. They're not like necessarily the best places to do an activity that does require a lot of space. And, you know, outdoor spaces are great when the weather is nice, but, you know, it's not California. London is not necessarily going to offer you great outdoor weather for jump rope year round. The second problem is obviously, I think, time as well. As a teenager, I think being a teenager is kind of terrible, but one of the perks, especially if you didn't have like a massively active social life, which was the case for me when I was a teenager, you do have a lot of time. You have a lot of time to do activities like make jump rope videos that just kind of goes away when you're an adult. But there is a third problem, and just being quite frank and honest about it, it is the motivation. If I had been really, really determined to make these new tutorial videos, I would have done it. I would have found a way to get past the time and space constraints, and I would have made those new videos. It was definitely not impossible. It was just the way I prioritized my activities meant that they just never reached the top. I'm hopeful that this time things can be different. So for one thing, I have moved out of London and I've moved back down to my parents' house for basically what I'm hoping is the remainder of the pandemic until people are vaccinated. So it's at least going to be a few months. This is helpful for both like solving the place issue because I have access to all the space that I made all my old jump rope videos in, and also very helpful from the time perspective because even though obviously I got a lot of commitments, I'm not doing anything involving traveling or that many social commitments, and the ones that are just like online. So there is more time to do this kind of, you know, quite time intensive project. In terms of motivation, my hope is that by removing the old videos and coming onto camera and saying to you right now that I am going to make new tutorials, that this is going to provide me with the kind of kick up the butt that I need to do the thing that I want to do, which is make you guys new videos. So I want to use this opportunity to tell you a bit about what those new videos are going to involve. But first, I want to provide you with a little bit of reassurance. So if there was a particular tutorial that you want me to put back online, put a comment on this video or send me a message, however you want to do it, and I will happily share that video with you directly. And if more than 3 to 5 people or so want a video, because I get like that many messages, or like a comment on about a video gets like that many likes or so, then I will just happily make that video public again. There might be a few that you want to keep. I expect like there's a lot that I made in like 2010 or so that are just probably not worth salvaging and don't even have that many views. But if there are any, then please do let me know. I'm very happy to put them back online. So as for what the new tutorials will be, well, in my previous tutorials, I didn't really have that much of a process, but basically I would choose a trick that I knew and I would just try and explain how to execute it and break it apart. And I think this approach is fine, and I will do a bit of it in the new videos. But one major issue I think with this approach is there are just too many tricks in jump rope to make tutorials like this function. And to be clear, when I say that, it's not just that I'm saying that I don't have enough time to make tutorials for all those tricks. Even if it was my full-time job and I was doing it for years, there just wouldn't be enough time because the number of possible tricks is just too large. This is because it's often possible in jump rope to combine simple tricks together and make new tricks. So as a simple example, let's say you just knew 2 tricks, like the cross and the double under, and then you could combine these together to create 3 new tricks. You could have cross, open, double under, open, cross, double under, and cross, cross. And then you could do them backwards as well, and then you've like doubled the number of tricks that you can do. So you could see that even though I've just used like 2 basic tricks there, just combined them together in new ways, I've ended up with quite a lot more tricks. And as you add in more crosses, of course, the number just explodes up to a crazy number that you just couldn't count. There are too many tricks. So the focus of the new tutorials is going to be less on learning a catalog of different skills, but instead I want to focus on helping you build mental models that enable you to teach yourself skills more easily. What do I mean by mental models? It's a phrase I recently read about in a book called Peak, which is a book about the science of expert performance. I put a link in the description. Definitely recommend it. Great book. They're a bit tricky to define, but basically it's a kind of pattern recognition that helps people perform better at the skill of their choosing. So, for example, a musician might be able to look at just a piece of sheet music and get a good sense of how that music is going to sound when they play it before they've even, picked up their instrument. And that's going to help them play the piece more proficiently. And in jump rope, I think like a simple example might be having an intuitive understanding of how the timing of tricks changes when you're like going forwards compared to when you're going backwards, and crossing in front of you compared to crossing behind your back. So things like that. Hopefully that gives you a bit of a sense of what I'm talking about. In the new tutorials, I want to teach you skills, of course, but I also just do want to help you guys, give you guys these concepts that help you learn skills yourself. Oh, and even invent your new tricks. I mean, part of the good thing about there being so many tricks is I don't think you have to be like particularly amazing at jump rope. I'm not particularly amazing at jump rope, but you can still come up with ideas that people just haven't thought of before because there's just so many possibilities. And I hope this means that my tutorials provide some value to people at different experience levels, where you're just like starting out, just want to like learn a few skills, or you're more advanced and you're trying to think about like what are some new things that you can do with the jump rope. So that's it for now. I wish you all the best in these weird, strange, and kind of bad times. I'm excited to see what you think of the new videos when I make them. Please leave any questions in the comments and subscribe to stay up to date with new uploads. Thanks very much, guys. Bye-bye.